Just what does Oklahoma need to show in its away game against South Carolina, and why this game has OU on a fulcrum? It can go good, it can go bad for the rest of the season, as South Carolina is going to be indicative of a number of things to come. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Oklahoma bounces back and gets a win on the road against South Carolina with what was at one point a guy that people had talked about for the Heisman, and LaNorris Sellers, not so much anymore, but still a guy that people talk about as a presumptive number one pick in some places, and in others like mine, more like a guy that I would stay away from if I'm drafting for the NFL. And some of those reasons have everything to do with John Mateer in Oklahoma. Honestly, when we look at this game and we look at the personnel, I think that South Carolina and Oklahoma are similar, which is really going to give OU fans, I think, the red ass, because Oklahoma is number 14 in the country. It's a one-loss team, and its loss is by 17 points to Texas, but it's 23-6. It's also been an outstanding scoring defense, even with that 23 points that it allowed from Texas at the Cotton Bowl a week ago. Oklahoma's also been getting dumped on ever since that loss because, well, they just flat out got their behinds kicked. That's just how that went. I've been asked about this, even as I go on group rides and whatnot. And, you know, I live in Oklahoma. Most people understand and know what it is that I do at Fox, ranking teams, talking about teams, talking to coaches, whatnot. And it was, you know, I got this analysis from folks talking about the offensive line. I got this analysis from folks talking about the defensive lines. I got this analysis from folks talking about John Mateer. A lot of people have lots of things to say about the run game. The thing that I told everybody, and I'm telling you now, is sometimes you just get your butt kicked. After that, yeah, we could pick it apart. We could talk about the offensive line, the defensive line, the lack of a run game that does not feature John Mateer, the really awful game that Mateer played against Texas, and the way in which the defense got run on. We can talk about all those things, and all those things I think are important. But if you looked at that game and watched that game from kickoff to final whistle, yeah, one team was clearly in it to win it, and another team was not. Texas was lathered up and ready to go. Texas got his back against the wall. It takes another loss. It is not making the college football playoff. They got to run the table the rest of the way. Oklahoma, perhaps not, but also Oklahoma has the toughest second half of college football season in the entire world. And that's why the South Carolina game is such a big deal. Number one, South Carolina came to Oklahoma with Shane Beamer, who was on staff with Lincoln Riley, and handed OU a very embarrassing L and got to say, yo, it's hard to win games in the SEC. That's what Shane Beamer is learning as well. They lost to the last two ranked opponents that they have as they started out as a top 25 team. And that's where this is going to get dicey. Oklahoma can't be the team to take an L to South Carolina as a ranked opponent. It's just not going to work. Yeah, I think that even if you take into account the next 5 opponents are ranked, it's going to look really bad because you would have taken 2 losses to unranked teams at the time. We'll see what the College Football Playoff Selection Committee has to say about this if Oklahoma is still very much in that race. But this kind of gets you closer to that. You go on the road, you get a win against a 3-3 South Carolina that hadn't quite figured out its run game and hasn't quite figured out who's catching passes. We talk about Nick Harbor as if he is going to be some great wide receiver in this sport, and then we're still waiting on it. He's fast. But fast ain't catching the football. And that's just it. You don't need to be fast to catch the football. You need 2 hands to catch it. And it seems like that dude's got frying pans attached. Because every time they try to go with the ball to him, I'm not sure he's going to catch it. I can't have Featherstone playing wide receiver for me. Unless we put Stickum on his hands, miss me with just how much he's going to be able to do. Now, that said, Oklahoma's defensive back play was not great against Texas. And maybe you think there's something you to do. I think that if they go back to running the high school offense that works for them, which is LaNorris Sellers back there playing recess football, that's one way to beat Oklahoma. Just like John Mateer tends to play for OU. It's recess football. I had said to a friend of mine that Mateer's probably going to throw 10 interceptions this year. It's like, why so many? Because the arm angle is one thing, but also he just airmails some passes that I just don't know who he is looking at half the time. There were times during the Texas game where I was like, is that Michael Hawkins? because I was looking for melanin in his skin and it ain't there. So when did this happen? And then it's been happening. He did this against Michigan. He's going to make plays like the ones that he did against Texas. He's also going to make these outstanding plays that can bail you out. And again, turns it into high school football where your best athlete is at quarterback and you do what he's comfortable doing. I'm not so interested in what happens to South Carolina with a win like this, because I think 4-3, you're still best. You're going to go 9 wins the rest of the way. That's not making the playoff, even as they expected to this year. And they're already out of that. So all they get to do now is play spoiler and try to backdoor their way in, being the first 3-loss team to make college football playoff, although I just don't see it because Washington beats Michigan this weekend. That's a 1-loss team that has a loss to Ohio State. Oregon's got the loss to Indiana, but Indiana looks great. I mean, you could see 4 teams from the SEC, 4 teams from the Big Ten making the college football playoff, but I think that you're going to have an undefeated SEC opponent there at the end. And if you don't, maybe a 9-3 team gets in, but I just don't see it. I also think that for Oklahoma, this is an opportunity to get the kind of respect that Texas went to go get. Steve Sarkisian was really loud about saying a lot of people saying some things about our team. Yes, that's what we do when you're popular. That's what we do when you're the University of Texas. You get all the slings and arrows. You also get the golden hat. Deal with it. I'm telling y'all, man, I didn't think I would be this man, this unk at 38 years old, but the softness that's coming out of these press conferences is starting to get to me. Sometimes I feel like not enough people understand what it is to take your licks. We're so quick to say, hey, I told you so, or get off my back. And I'm going, well, people are on your back for a reason, dog. You're supposed to be undefeated. You were the number 1 team in the country. I mean, you just played in the SEC championship game. You made the college football playoff in multiple years. Now you're a 2-loss team before you play Oklahoma. That's not how that's supposed to go. The thing to do is to really stand on it. Brent Venables got a dose of this on Monday. He had in him to say, hey, it's the SEC. Not every game you play is going to be like the Big 12 when Oklahoma blows out everybody but one team. Big 12 came off the top rope with the people's elbow going, yo, you caught 8 losses the last 2 years in this conference, dog. Respect will be paid. And I'm with them on that. This is why we're always telling the youngins, hey, show some humility when things are going well for you, because they're not always going to go well for you. Sometimes it's going to go bad for you. 3 things: get your job. 3 things: keep you in people's good graces. Do your job really well, be on time, have people like you. You can control 2 of those 3. The have people like you thing, you got to work hard at that one. And really, it's just about how people are going to experience you on that day. People remember how you make them feel. If they like being around you, they'll stick around. But I don't know, man. You keep coming at people after you get a win like you ain't taking the 2 losses. It's not going to sit. You know, like even at work, I was told I should be taking a victory lap after what I've been saying about Penn State came true. And I'm like, I mean, I did my job. Thanks. That's the job. That is what I get paid to do, is to have those takes and have those opinions. And when they don't go my way, hey, got it wrong. There is no form of gloating here that is going to work. And that, if nothing else, is college football.